Nelson, Senator Murkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome to you, Senator Clinton. Thank you for your leadership, for your willingness to step forward and assume this very, very important position for our country, for the nation. I truly appreciate all that you are poised to do and what you have done in the past. We had an opportunity in my office last week to discuss an issue that is, I think, vitally important to this country, and that is our role as an Arctic nation. And I know oftentimes my colleagues don't view the United States as an Arctic nation, but we are by virtue of Alaska, and we have opportunities when it comes to a leadership role in collaboration on research, on environmental issues, on issues as they relate to commerce. And we're seeing more of those issues present themselves as we see a world up there that is more and more free of sea ice. The loss of summer sea ice from climate change is having a truly dramatic effect on the Arctic. And the Bush administration saw this unfolding. We've been working with them for about the past 18 months to advance a new Arctic policy. Our Arctic policy is about 15 years stale. That was just released on Friday. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to fully review it, but I'd like your comments here this morning on the evolving role of the Arctic, on the role that we can play as an Arctic nation in dealing with our neighbors. We discussed the issue of Russia, and that oftentimes we've got some very difficult relationships with them, but the opportunity that on issues as they relate to research and an evolving world up north, how that might play out. And if you could just speak to that issue this morning. I have missed most of your comments this morning, and I apologize for that. I've been in 2 other confirmation hearings, but I'm pretty certain that you haven't fielded yet a question on the Arctic.
And Senator, it's very timely that one has been raised because, as I have said to you before, and even when you and your husband hosted Senator McCain's CODEL when we were in Alaska, and saw for ourselves some of the changes that are going on in the Arctic, both on land and in the sea. You have been a leader on this issue, and I hope your time has come, Senator, because I believe that the issues of the Arctic are one of those long-term matters that will dramatically affect our commercial, our environmental, our energy futures that we have got to start attending to now. So to that end, I agree with you completely that the issues that are posed by the recent Bush administration report that did come out just a few days ago, the work of the Arctic Council that has been an attempt to try to summon the best thinking of the government and outside experts, will find a very receptive ear in the State Department. I think President-elect Obama and I see that this is one of those areas that offers a chance for cooperation that might lead not only to positive actions with respect to the Arctic, but deepen our partnerships with Russia and others across the board. So to that end, we will be working to try to sort through the recommendations and the ideas in the recent report to see how we fit that into already existing frameworks and consider what additional actions and positions might be necessary. But I agree with you completely. You know, maybe because the change has been relatively rapid with the melting of the sea ice, people haven't kept up with what is going on now in the Arctic. And when I was in your office, and you were telling me about how cruise ships now are going to Point Barrow, I was shocked.
So are the people of Point Barrow.
So are the people of Point Barrow. I mean, look on the map. It's the northernmost place in the United States, and it's not a place that one would have thought previously was on the tour for cruise ships. We know that there's going to be a necessity to map out our continental shelf. We know that there will be disputes over energy resources and minerals and other natural resources in the Arctic. To go along with that, I know that hand in hand with concerns about the Arctic is, the Oceans Convention, the Law of the Sea, which would clarify a lot of the problems that you're going to face in Alaska if we don't have a national Arctic policy that also includes what our international position is on the oceans. And
Will ratification of the Law of the Sea Treaty be a priority for you?
Yes, it will be. And it will be because it is long overdue, Senator. The Law of the Seas Treaty is supported by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, environmental, energy, and business interests. I have spoken with some of our naval leaders, and they consider themselves to be somewhat disadvantaged by our not having become a party to the Law of the Seas. Our industrial interests, particularly with seabed mining, just shut up. I mean, there's nothing that they can do because there's no protocol that they can feel comfortable that gives them the opportunity to pursue commercial interests. So for all of those reasons, and I mention it in conjunction with the Arctic because I think they go hand in hand, we've got to figure out where our boundaries are. If people start drilling in areas that are now ice-free most of the year, and we don't know where they can and can't drill or whether we can, we're going to be disadvantaged. So I think that you will have a very receptive audience in our State Department and in our administration.
Well, I'm very pleased, very encouraged to hear that, and truly look forward to the opportunity to be working with you to advance these very important issues. And as we look to some of the basics that we're lacking up in the Arctic, whether it's the capacity for search and rescue, what we need to be prepared for in this ever-evolving world without borders. It's quite a concept to think. One more question. Another that Alaskans look to with great interest because of our proximity to North Korea. As we look to the hot spots in the world, we certainly appreciate all of the other threats that you will be dealing with as Secretary of State, but you kind of get most nervous about those that are more proximate to you, and North Korea is certainly to us. In that vein, what do you see the future of the six-party talks under your tenure? How do you anticipate that you'll be able to, whether it's jumpstart the process, or how do you see that moving forward?
Senator, I've had several lengthy conversations with Secretary Rice, who has brought me up to date on the status of the six-party talks. It is a framework that the President-elect and I believe has merit, but it also provides an opportunity, as Secretary Rice has testified before this committee, for bilateral contact as well between North Korea and the United States. Again, this is under review. We're looking at all of the record of the negotiation up to this date. Our goal is to end the North Korean nuclear programs, both the plutonium reprocessing program and the highly enriched uranium program, which there is reason to believe exists, although never quite verified. And it is our strong belief that the six-party talks, particularly the role that China is currently playing, along with our close allies, South Korea and Japan, is a vehicle for us to exert pressure on North Korea in a way that is more likely to alter their behavior. Again, I have no illusions about that. I think it takes tough, reality-based diplomacy to determine what is doable. We have got to end North Korea as a proliferator. There is certainly reason to believe that North Korea has been involved with Syrian efforts. We know that it was involved with Libyan efforts. So it's not only preventing the threat from North Korea, which is of particular interest to Hawaii, Alaska, and the west coast of the United States, but it is their role as a proliferator. So we will embark upon a very aggressive effort to try to determine the best way forward to achieve our objectives with them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your, again, willingness and your great capacity in this effort. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Murkowski. Let me